I'm Dana K. White of aslobcomesclean.com and author of Decluttering at the Speed of Life. All right, we're talking about packing up your holiday stuff. Maybe you're watching this after the 4th of July. I don't know. We're talking about packing up seasonal decor. Just so you know, I am not putting this video out there to say, it's the day after Christmas and you need to get your stuff put away. Whenever you want to put it away is fine. But I am here, especially for the person who, whenever you're watching this, may be thinking, I need to put that stuff away, but I am too overwhelmed. It's just too much. I can't. We're going to talk about going through this process and what to think about and what to actually do. First thing I want you to think about, okay, is the hassle factor. Think back to when you were pulling your stuff out of the attic, or like for us in our house, it was going out to the barn and loading up stuff and bringing it back. Think about the hassle factor. Did you feel annoyed with how much there was to pull out of the attic or whatever space that you had? Did you have a feeling at that moment of, oh my goodness, I am storing so much stuff and I'm not even getting it all out, whatever, okay? Those are things to really have in your mind as we get going on today. But before we get going, you need your black trash bag and your donatable donate box. Because just like we talked about when we were talking about putting out your decor, as long as you are touching things anyway, it is a great time to identify some of that super easy stuff like trash, okay, things that are broken or whatever, things that are out of date, things like that. Or your donations, like, why do I even have this? I just need to stick it in the donate box, okay? So have those as your supplies as you start on this process so that you're not setting things aside thinking, I'm undecorating right now, and so let me put this aside until I'm actually decluttering. There's no reason to not just stick it in a donate box or in the trash bag, okay? All right, number one, easiest thing to purge. As you open up boxes to be ready to put things back in them, yes, there's gonna be this stuff in there, if you followed what we talked about before, that came out, you know, that's normal all year round decorations, and you replaced those for your Christmas decorations. But are there Christmas decoration items, or whatever holiday you're talking about, are there those decoration items in these boxes and they never got put out, okay? Unless there was a reason that they didn't get put out, like you have it on a rotation or whatever, it just might be a duh. It's your decision, but it just might be a duh, okay? All right, so how do you make these hard decisions when you just know that there's too much and yet you just can't see things as a duh donation, something that needs to go without, you know, the stress of asking questions? Well, it all comes down to the container concept, right? Like everything I talk about comes down to the container concept. So how does that work in this? Well, what space do you have in your home to devote to seasonal decor, right? For me, I really minimized my seasonal decor. When I made the decision, I was only going to seasonally decorate for Christmas. I just decided I am not the type of, if I put stuff out for whatever random day, it will be out forever because it just starts to blend in with everything and I don't see it anymore. So Christmas has some nice little markers there for me. So just saying I'm only going to decorate for Christmas, for me, that helped me reduce quite a bit. But for you, whatever you actually do on seasonal decor, okay, what space do you have in your home to devote to that? Meaning this is space where I can put this, but it's not taking up room I need for the stuff that we use in our everyday life, okay? Like if you need a place to put your coats because you live in Michigan and you actually have to have coats for a lot of months of the year, and you have no place to put your coats because you've taken that entire space, that entire closet, whatever, for Christmas decorations, then that's not following the container concept, right? Your right now life, your life, things that actually get used on a consistent basis, that deserves space in your home, right? If you need coats, obviously coats can go in your regular closets too, but that's what I'm saying. Like, as what space do you have in your home to devote to this stuff that doesn't keep the stuff you use on an ongoing basis from having a place to be? Okay, what is the space that you have? Once you understand what the space is that you have to devote to this, okay, then you say, okay, well then what kind of storage stuff can fit in here. I generally have just used like old tubs. If you've been decluttering a lot anyway, you probably have some empty tubs that you're ready to get rid of. But whatever tubs I have, okay, that's what can fit in here. But those tubs going in that space where you have to put this stuff, the size of that space determines the size and number of tubs or storage boxes, whatever it is, that you can put seasonal decorations in, okay? Then once you have those containers figured out, then you really apply the container concept as you put things away. Put your favorite things in first. The things that are in there, they're not your favorite things. And so if anything is like, oh, that's my favorite, and you go to put it into this box and you weren't willing to get rid of these things that never went out this year, okay, back when you first got those boxes down, now, once that box is full, if something that you love that you actually displayed needs to go in the box, and then there's no room for it in the box, but there's stuff in there you didn't put out this year, then you decide which one is more container worthy, okay? Like, is this thing that I actually loved and enjoyed and put out, is that more container worthy than this item that I didn't like enough to actually put out in my house? Yes. I mean, it's your decision. It's totally your decision, but the answer is probably yes, right? Okay. And that makes it easier to let go of this thing that before you thought, well, I don't know. But the size of the box is the size of the box. And the size of the space that this box is going into is the size of the space that this box is going into. So I only have a finite amount of space, which then helps me identify which thing I value more, which thing I want to keep more. And it makes it easier to get rid of those things that I might have had all these what if reasons why I wanted to keep them, okay, if I wasn't looking at it that way. So embrace the size of the container and let that help you make those hard decisions. So here's an example that I have for you. Before I do that, I want to say something, okay? I did a podcast last May, I think it was, with a hoarding clean out specialist. He uses my 5-step decluttering process, which is in my books, and you can get the printable at aslobcomesclean.com/5, F-I-V-E. But he uses those steps with his clients as he helps them. So we were talking about things. I said, hey, what is a category of item that you tend to see a lot? And he immediately said, holiday decorations. He said, I come across so many holiday decorations. And I believe, I mean, just me, I'm just talking here. I think it has to do with the fact that I can justify, like that's one of the reasons I liked shopping for holiday decor, is I could justify buying it, bringing it into my home, and not having to find a place for it right away. Like that didn't feel wrong at all. Not that I wasn't doing the same thing with all sorts of stuff, but you know what I mean? Like it didn't feel wrong to bring something into my house and not actually do anything with it when it was holiday decor, because it wasn't the holidays, right? And so I could just keep bringing it in and bringing it in and not have a real awareness of how much I actually had. And that's partly because I didn't have an understanding of my house being a container and of needing to have a designated space in my home and of that space being a limit and how I needed to make decisions that way. Okay, so I didn't understand any of that. So I get it. I get how easy it is to bring holiday decor in, but I thought that was interesting and something to talk about here, right? And how do we put a limit on it? Okay, so here's my example. Last year, when we moved, I got rid of stuff when we left. I got rid of stuff when we got here. I got rid of some more stuff as we actually were packing up from Christmas. So I decided I wanted to have an actual Christmas ornament storage. There's nothing magical about the ornament storage except when I let it be a container, okay? So I actually bought two, and here's where you get to see that I didn't declutter the one that I didn't use. I bought two of these, and I didn't even open up this one. I didn't even open up this package, okay? This worked so well for me, all right? I totally could have kept more, but this was plenty for me. I had an entire other box that I could have gotten out. I had a whole nother container that I could have used. But I didn't even need it because I viewed this space as a container. And even knowing that there was going to be a limit, even not knowing what the limit was going to be, if it was going to come down to me having 6 things left over that I had to make hard decisions about. Just knowing that there was a limit meant that there were a lot of things that I was like, as I picked it up to go put it into this space, I realized, oh, yeah, I don't actually like that. I knew it wasn't container worthy before I ever got to the point where I was going, oh, which one should I keep? So even without any of that angst, it made it so much easier for me to declutter Christmas ornaments, just knowing there was a limit. And then I didn't even need all those, okay? These are tree ornaments, by the way. And I hear that from people all the time. Just knowing there's a limit makes so many things obvious and easy and donations that before we're like, oh, well, maybe I should keep that. And you're like, oh, well, I don't have all the space in the world. I can't just keep everything. I can only keep the things that really deserve space in my home. And then things, before you ever go through that process, start to reveal themselves as not actually being worth a spot in your home, okay? So I wish you the best as you pack your stuff up. Use it as an opportunity to declutter and know that this will come around next year. And if you pack something up and then next year you realize, why in the world did I pack that up? Well, then you can declutter it then, okay? We're gonna keep on going and it's gonna be fine. All right, I hope you had a great holiday and happy decluttering.